Hi guys. In this video, we are going to talk about one of the most important theme in sociology, that is social mobility. So this is closely connected with social stratification because once you identify the social layers, as we have seen in social stratification, the natural question is, can people move across these layers, right? And we have understood the type of stratification in terms of social mobility. We define two types of social stratification based on mobility, that is closed system and open system. Open system is where social mobility is possible, and closed system is where social mobility is not possible. And then we have discussed multiple examples also, and finally we have concluded that there are no systems which are theoretically or purely closed or purely open. Even when we talk about a class system which is considered to be open, but still there are practical hindrances. And similarly, when we talk about certain closed system like caste system, which is theoretically closed, but still there are practical, avenues that you can have a kind of mobility. And we discussed in terms of hypergamy, hypogamy, and then we discussed in terms of Sanskritization, dominant caste, etc. Right? So let's understand social mobility in detail here, and this is the summary session. So let me quickly go through that. So social mobility, when we talk about it, simply refers to the movement of individuals or groups from one social position to other social position. So which means from the bottom, if you're moving to the top, it is upward mobility. From the top, if you are moving, that is downward mobility. And this is vertical movement that we are talking about. And similarly, there can be horizontal movement, and horizontal movement is not important. That is geographical in nature, like kind of transfers, right? You are working as a clerk here and you are transferred to some other area, same position. So there is no vertical movement, right? Clerk to manager, promotion is not there. Promotion is vertical mobility. Transfers you can consider as horizontal mobility, and sociologically horizontal mobility is not that important. I'll come to that. Okay, so based on avenues, we have different types of social mobility, right? Avenues exist. So some of the avenues like education, income, occupation, these are avenues for social mobility. So in every society, some avenues for such kind of social movement exist, but the extent of these avenues, or the ones which you who use these avenues, that varies. And based on that, we have different types of system. As we discussed, closed system like caste, where mobility is highly restricted, avenues are less. And in open system, avenues are more. So more the avenues, it's considered to be open system. Less the avenues of social mobility, it is considered to be closed system. Caste system, ethnic system, race, all these are considered to be closed, right? Gender. But again, there are practical opportunities where it can get open also. And similarly, when it comes to open system, avenues are more, like class, where mobility is possible through education. These are the avenues: skills, occupation, opportunities. But if you look at, Sorokin basically reminded us in his classical work, that is Social Mobility, 1927. We have discussed it in n number of times. There are no systems which is perfectly closed nor perfectly open. So there are practical hindrances and there are practical opportunities if you are considering something as closed. So hindrances are there even if you consider something as open. So you need to write this line if the question is asked, Sorokin, that there are no system which are purely open or perfectly closed. Now let's quickly look at the types of social mobility also. There can be many forms, vertical mobility, horizontal mobility, and I told you movement up or down is vertical mobility in a hierarchy. So you can clearly see a hierarchy, right? So and that again can happen within generations, like intergenerational, intra-generational, absolute, relative, structural, circulation, sponsored, contested, all these I can discuss. But vertical mobility is more important, upward, downward. So businessman going bankrupt, right? So that is downward. And you are getting promotion, that is upward, right? And if you are getting any punishment and your position is coming down, that is downward, right? And the son of a clerk becoming an IAS officer, that is upward mobility, right? Horizontal mobility means movement without positional change, or there is no change in the status, like a teacher shifting from Kerala to Delhi, right? Or a clerk shifted from this village to other village, right? Or village officer transferred from this village office to the other village office. A police constable transferred from this office to the other office. These are horizontal mobility, sociologically less important. So we focus more on vertical mobility. Coming to intergenerational means between generations, right? Changes across generation. A farmer's son entering politics, a farmer's son becoming an IAS officer. So between two generations, intergenerational, within itself, upward and downward mobility. The one which I have given example, farmer's son becoming IAS officer, which is intergenerational upward. An IAS officer son, becoming a teacher or a farmer, that is intergenerational downward. Now coming to intragenerational means change within one's own lifetime. You born as a poor person, ending as a rich person, right? And landless labor becoming small entrepreneur. These are upward mobility, which is happening your lifetime itself. And when you talk about absolute relative mobility, see whether everyone moves up together or only in relation to others. You got promotion, right? What does that mean? Absolute mobility. You got occupation or you earn money, you got education, and your status have improved. That is absolute upward mobility. Now, there are two. Let's talk about one example, relative mobility. So, there is there are two. Let's talk about two sub-inspectors or two constables. Their status remain the same, and one person was promoted to sub-inspector. Okay, so here const or sub-inspector promoted to circle inspector, whatever it is. I hope you understood two positions or two clerk, and one became manager. So the clerk becoming manager, that is absolute upward mobility. There is an absolute mobility here. The other person, there is no change in his status. He was a clerk, now he is a clerk. There is no change, but he will experience a relative downward mobility in comparison to the other person. That's what relative mobility. Then structural versus circulation mobility is there, which means the mobility caused by large scale changes like industrialization or, that's what you mean by structural mobility. Circulation means mobility due to new entrants replacing the old ones. So this is what circulation mobility. Then sponsored and contested, where the state or the patron promotes the movement. That is what sponsored. Reservation you can give as example, right? That's one of the example for sponsored. Competitive exams, that's what you mean by contested mobility, where everyone contests equally and you achieve the mobility. That's what contested social mobility. Now, thinkers that you need to add is different contribution. Pattern Sorokin, that is very important. He compared mobility to stairs or elevators in a building. Some societies have more elevators, others more barriers. What does that mean? Some societies are more avenues of social mobility. Some societies are very rigid, like the traditional societies having less avenues. So basically, he's talking about modern and traditional societies, right? So based on the avenues which are available, you can classify societies also in terms of modern and traditional. Modern society, more the avenues; traditional society, less the avenues. Then David Glass, that the Britain study in 1954, he showed that most mobility was short range. Elites largely reproduce themselves, right? So that is again one of the limitations. Blau and Duncan study in 1967, they found long range mobility to be very rare. So, though education played a major role, but it's very rare. M.N. Srinivas, another example which you can give, the concept of Sanskritization, right? That's the form of cultural mobility in Indian caste society, which you already know that in itself is a separate big question in paper two. And then Lipset and Zetterberg, they argued that industrialization promotes mobility because it weakens that ascribed status and strengthens the achieved status. Now, the question is about what is more important these days, ascribed status or achieved status? Achieved status. So achieved status is what you're promoting, means there's a modern society and there are more avenues of social mobility. And industrialized society is basically based on achieved status and not ascribed status. Now, if you look at the avenues, as I told you, traditional societies, it is very limited, like mainly through wars, inheritance of property, royal patronage, you get the land, wealth, etc. In modern societies, mobility is supported by so many aspects like the political democracy we have. So through elections and political participation, you can achieve political mobility. Economic system, you can get occupation, you can have proper education, you can have entrepreneurship, and the capitalism, industrialization, all these are promoting. So economic system is also playing a very important role. These are avenues of mobility. Education, so that's the single greatest channel of education, social mobility, as shown in Blau's house and then can't study. And then technology, IT revolution, gig economy, new opportunities. That's another avenue for social mobility. Culture, the modernization of culture, right? A decline of that rigid customs and everything that is offering huge avenues of social mobility. But there are, of course, factors that is affecting mobility, the hindrances, right? So mobility is influenced by multiple factors. So let me talk about factors affecting mobility, then I'll talk about the barriers or the hindrances. So industrialization and urbanization, that is basically open up new jobs. That's very good avenues for mobility. Education provide credentials and the skills and occupation income, that plays a very important role. Social capital and the networks, the connections that you have. Anthony Giddens and Baltimore basically highlight closure where elites restrict entry. And then low constitution, that's the affirmative actions, reservations, all these are again avenues. That is an example for sponsored mobility also. Social movements, like Dalit movement, women's movement, civil rights movement as examples. You can write migration, rural to urban migration in India, or Indian diaspora abroad. All these are again avenues of mobility. Technology with constantly reshaping this job market and giving more and more avenues. But there are barriers at the same time. See, mobility is not unlimited, right? Poverty, illiteracy, caste rigidity. You talk about cultural modernization, but still rigidity of caste is there. Patriarchal norms that is affecting the mobility of women, and even psychological barriers like lack of aspiration that also can restrict mobility. For example, despite all these constitutional abolition of untouchability and the fact that the laws are there, Dalits still face barriers to mobility due to the entrenched prejudices that the society have. So to conclude, basically, social mobility is a dynamic side of stratification. Both are equally important. Stratification can be understood only in terms of social mobility, right? And since stratas are there, mobility is also there, or mobility is not there. So that's how you understand it. And it is neither fully open nor fully closed. Modernization, education, democracy, all these have expanded opportunities and provided the avenues for social mobility. But still, there are structural inequalities that continue to restrict the access. So when it comes to the question answer, you start with the definition, you talk about stratification also, you talk about the types, open, closed, avenues, and then add the thinkers and the studies that we discussed in the class and the PDF, and then discuss the avenues and the barriers and conclude with a balanced view. Mobility reflect both progress and persistence of inequality. On one side, it is showing the traditional, you can also understand the type of society, the nature of society by understanding social mobility. Right. So that's all what I want to discuss in this. And if you're looking for any mentorship for sociology, get in touch with us, test series or the classes. See you there.